Gob, you're muted. Get in the software, unmute yourself. Right, just by way of a bit of a sound test, Jack would normally be doing the intro tonight and introducing everything we're doing, but nobody, I can't hear him. Nobody in the chat room seems to be hearing. Just by way of testing that everything's up and running in the chat room, can anybody hear me? Like, am I coming through loud and clear? Somebody give me a mic check, if possible. Right, I'm loud and clear. That means it's not my. That means it's your fault, Jack. Jack, you might have invested in God might have invested in a microphone that is doing him in tonight. Because all seems to be working at this end. Should we let him have a bit of a click around before I or shall I just? I can see you, Gob. I can see you. I can see your face. Give me a thumbs up if you want me to just crack on with having a bit of a chat over match one while you run some diagnostics. Right, so do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dip into the chat room while Gob sorts his technology out, and I'm doing because there's the chat room. We've got chat rooms bouncing already tonight, absolutely buzzing. It's night one of the match play. I have been absolutely giddy with excitement for tonight for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now I'm going to Blackpool next week, but tonight, it was absolutely amazing. I know you probably all agree with me to see fans in the Winter Garden once more, and the match play is underway. By dead quick, and I'm just going to play around for a little bit in the chat room. Quick, one word, player of the night tonight. Who was the player of the night for anyone that's in there? Let's see what we come up with in the chat room, and we'll have a quick fire around that before we hopefully get gobbing nice and quick, and we can talk through some matches one by one. Joseph, I completely agree. Joseph's gone in really quickly. If Dewey plays like that next round, he is out. I think you are dead right there. What's amazing, the quickest thing I've noticed, as soon as I put out straight away, put your player of the night in the chat room, every single player that's played tonight, barring, I'm scanning dead quickly down, everyone other than Vincent van der Voort and David Petersen has been named. I think, interestingly, all the seeds won, which, if you're a betting man, bookmakers have done all right tonight. Nobody outrageous. There's been no major upsets. I think there was a few people calling something of, nothing from left field, nothing from here, there, or everywhere. All the seeds have gone through, but interesting, the broadness. So we've got some people shouting Clayton, some people shouting Chisnall, some people going for Price. I agree with quite a few. I thought that Chisnall was absolutely superb tonight. And I think that, to be honest, Chisnall was probably the seed that was under the most pressure tonight. I think he was pushed all the way by Vincent van der Voorde. I think the last two games, Price and Vandenberg didn't really have too much on them. Clayton did always seem to have Van Duijvenbode at bay, but I think Chisnall really, really had to dig in today and do very, very well. Let's have a quick look. There's lots to shout. There you go, Jack.
Yay!
He's here.
Didn't work and why it has suddenly worked. Let's try that introduction again, shall we? Later than planned, and at the second time of asking, this is Game Shot, the Fallout Bar. This is our new show, rounding up all of the action from the match play to start with. And if this goes well, then we'll be doing this for every single PDC televised major. How about that, Dan? Late night online darts. What more could the people want?
What more? It's perfect. Absolutely brilliant.
Yes, all the comments, absolutely loving it. Welcome. Yeah, hello. I've got there in the end. Look, I've been on this software literally all day, making sure everything works. The minute you press the button, something goes wrong. No idea why. It wasn't off Wish, Martin. It was off Amazon. Same thing, pretty much. As usual. Who is that? Jar, get off the chat room. That's my job. Right, let's review the night then, Dan, shall we?
Let's talk about that, shall we? Instead of cheap technology.
Yes. Yeah, leave my hate of technology. I was not hitting 180s. I've been absolutely nowhere near exercise all day. Ridiculously far too hot. I can only imagine what it's like in the winter gardens. I wish my garden was in the middle of winter because I am roasting.
It's too hot, isn't it?
Yes. Before we get back to the darts, Dan, let's talk pre-darts. So there's a lot of build-up with the fans being back, and there was a few perhaps ticketed issues. We'll skate over them, but I want to talk from the moment the coverage started. And the two things that we saw for the first time, really. The first time we've ever seen a player lift the trophy before an event in Dimitri Vandenberg.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what to make of that. And as a player, I'd have been a bit like, no, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to go near the trophy until I actually have to lift it. How about you?
I completely agree. I thought it was I understand the thinking behind it. I completely get it, and I get the theory that we've got fans in the building in the Winter Garden. You know, Dimmy was robbed of that experience of lifting the trophy in front of fans in that arena, and I understand that the thinking behind it. In reality, I just thought it was a bit both sort of unnecessary and a bit odd, and didn't really fit with what I think was a lot of excitement to the launch of, you know, fans are back. Winter Gardens is full of people. Let's get on with the darts. And then there just seemed to be this odd, like, look back to last year when everything was crap. And then, we'll lift this trophy. Then he goes off again. And then I think I think maybe if he was on first, then perhaps it might have seemed a bit more appropriate. If he was coming doing that and then he was going to play his match, it just seemed a bit disjointed for me. I didn't really get it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a few in the comments. Scott's joined us. I've clicked on the wrong one now because we're changing so many so quickly. A bunch of breaches. It was a nice moment. Look, I just think, right, if that was any other player, could you imagine trying to get Gary Anderson to do that? By the way,
yeah, and that's I think
he'd laugh out the room. Yeah, I mean, he's got to win one, but because he come close a couple of times, but didn't quite get there. He'd be like, nah, go away, I ain't doing that.
There are others as well, like who I think would have just put a flat no onto the very notion of going through that process, and it wouldn't have happened. Obviously, Dimmy's willing to play along. He's early in his career. He's doing a lot of these things for the first time. I mean, it didn't offend me in any way. I just didn't really think it fitted with what the night was doing. I didn't really do anything for me. It didn't offend me, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And then the second one, obviously a little bit.
Well, Gob, you've got a lot of feedback
more,
coming through, mate. I don't know if that's coming through everywhere.
I actually give up. Is it still alright?
Nah.
You just saying that now.
Nah, you sound like you're underwater, mate. You sound like you're submarine, hanging your microphone out of a submarine is how it sounds.
At this point, it has to be the PC, doesn't it? It just has to be.
Teresa is dead right. You do sound like a Dalek. Like those chaps that I keep. I'll tip my camera ever so slightly. These to my Doctor Who. If anybody's interested in Doctor Who artwork, but he does sound very much like a Dalek at the moment, Gob. Hopefully he's going to come clean soon.
Are you a Whovian?
Yeah, and well, to be honest, so my eldest daughter, she got into Doctor Who. She got into Doctor Who when she was about 7. She's autistic, Gabby, and she latches onto like the strangest of things, and she become obsessive about Doctor Who. And she sort of dragged the rest of the family with her. Like I'd never really watched it much before, but she did. She very much like I've now seen every episode that's ever been made ever. And they're often just on repeat in our back room where she sits and watches them all. So yeah, she's dragged us all along, and we do enjoy a bit of Doctor Who in this house.
Good to know. You can't beat 10. It's absolutely unreal.
Let's talk about darts quick again before your mic goes off.
Let's talk about darts, yes. Back to events before the darts actually got underway tonight. There was a second, I guess, videotape and moment within the Winter Gardens that I thought was a really nice touch from the PDC with the tribute to the first time that we at Online Darts have had the chance to speak to you guys in the chat room since the legend that is the Viking passed away, and I thought it was a really nice touch just to have that moment, not only with the videotape and with the comments from Emma, who was hosting, but from the crowd as well. I thought they responded to that really, really well inside the venue.
Yeah, and I mean, you can only hear so much through the television when when you're trying to sort of keep an eye on it, but it seemed like some of that spun through the rest of the evening, and that there was every now and again you'd hear some singing, some tributes and bits and bobs here and there. If I'm honest, like I struggle to think how I can sort of do justice really, and I don't really want to sort of go down the road of attempting it. I think it's been done a lot better in the last week or so by people who could probably do a much better job than I can. But I think Sky did a very, very good job today of just in what was a very, very exciting moment, pointing things in exactly the right way and positioning it very right. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, completely agree. Right, let's move on to the darts then, as that is what we are here to talk about. We're going to go in chronological order. I'm going to have hopefully the results scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Let's start with game one. If I can find it on the thing. Dave Chisnall, Vincent van der Voorde, an absolute cracker to get us underway, I thought.
Oh, complete and utter belter. I mean, I like 8-10. Like Vince, we said earlier, or I mentioned very briefly at the beginning. And we're not spoiling results. All the seeds won, but this was the tightest game of the evening. Vincent really did push and push and push, and there was sort of moments in the game where it did look like I don't think Chizzy ever looked in doubt of winning. There was no point in the game where I thought I don't think that Vincent was going to win. But Chizzy was really pushed tonight. But the scoring was brilliant. I mean, between the two of them, they threw 31, 140s and above. they both had outrageous checkouts. I mean, Vincent checked out 129. That 161 from Chizzy was ridiculous. The checkout, it came down to checkouts, to be honest. Vincent really pushed him, but I think the highlight of that, Dave Chisnall checked out 10 out of 14 attempts on doubles, 71%. When you're averaging close to 100 and playing, and then you're playing that way, the way Dave Chisnall was, if you're hitting 70% of your doubles, someone's going to have to do something remarkably special to try and beat that.
Yes, it's not a stat I'd normally back Dave Chisnall to produce either, is it? Is the finishing under pressure, especially not in a game that was actually quite tense at moments. He didn't quite relax and completely unhurl the 180s that we're used to seeing from him.
No, it was almost, and you don't tend to and I suppose you don't see this a lot with Chisnall in that he seems to be. I mean, and I don't want to do him his credit, but I think he's absolutely electrifying when he will turn up and he will hammer in 180s and he will completely boss a game. Or sometimes it looks like he hasn't turned up and he just can't quite get into it. Whereas what we saw from him today, which I think is encouraging in the way that the tournament could progress for him, is a very sort of, I'd call it a workmanlike performance in that he turned up, he kept his opponent at arm's length, he kept ahead, he did exactly what he needed to do. And he was very, very steady. And he was very professional, and he took his doubles when they were in front of him. He took the big check out when it was there, and I just think it was a very, very professional performance from Dave Chisnall. I think he'll take a lot from that, and it's encouraging for him going forward in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm smiling right now. I'm aware that my image is frozen, but I'm smiling right now as a man that backed him to make the quarterfinals. I was happily content with that from Dave Chisnall tonight. That the doubling was there. There's still improvements to be made in the scoring, but we know that he's got that in his locker. And a good performance. It's never easy being the first game in a major because you run the risk of being the first person out of the major. So that pressure always plays on the player's shoulders. Ian White's been in that position a number of times, and I know that he's made comments to that effect that also he doesn't enjoy doing that. So, yeah, a solid performance from Dave Chisnall to get him over the line in the first one. And what we should be able to do now is hear his interview, or a clip of his interview. You can hear the full interview on our YouTube channel. Once we finish this, all of the interviews for today will be posted up. We've got the interviews for the clips of the first 3 for you as we go through the night.
Yeah, it felt great, but I was so shocked that Vincent didn't go for 81 on the bull, go for 12 or treble 12. As you know, that's what we do. We practice on them 161s and 170s. The big finish, if you get a chance, you try and take it, and that's what I did, and that's what I'm practicing all since last year. To be fair, yeah.
Gob, you are back on the mute, it seems. Whatever held you up the first time seems to be holding you up again. Whatever button you clicked last time, click it again. So while Gob just sorts himself out and gets his button click, I'm very confident that any moment now we're going to hear his dulcet tones come through those speakers, because he's going to click around, and he's already done it once, so he knows what he needs to do to put it right this time. So I'm confident we're not going to have this amount of time next time. But we can just reflect again on Dave Chisnall and have a quick look at... Let's have a quick look. Because... do you think that... Sorry, I've just dove into the chat room again, because there's an awful lot of criticism tonight on Vincent van der Voorde, and I know it came up in Chizzy's interview there. where Chizzy was confused about the routes that Vincent's taken. I don't think that he's taken. So for me, I don't think he's taken anything. I don't think he's made a bad choice. Gob's still talking away. I can see your mouth moving, mate. I can't hear you. Right. Oh, he's back. I heard him then. You there? Oh, he's not. I heard him for a second. He seemed to flash up for a moment. Did anybody else hear him? Anybody in this? Anybody in there? There you go. Whatever that button is, put it in your bookmarks, lad. Save that button.
Change microphones 4 times, and the input, suddenly I'm on AirPods. It's just whatever will put audio through, and then it will change its mind in a minute. Horrible system. The only questionable route from tonight, I think, is him turning down a bullseye on 81. And even then, with Chisnall sat back on what he was on, it's almost a percentage shot.
Oh, you're bouncing around, mate, from device to device. You've gone again. No, but just to follow up on what Gob's made there, I think it's one of those where he's gone there, where it's not. There are certain routes to go. It's not a miscount. Like it's not, and it isn't. It's just there are different routes around the board that different people want to take. When I play, I always get told off for certain different things that I do. When I'll have a certain checkout and I'll throw for something, and I know people will always get over and go, "Why have you done that? That's ridiculous. That's not the right way of doing it." And it's the way that I felt comfortable, because I'll immediately think, well, yeah, I know, but I feel like if I slip out of that and I hit this, then I know that my second route is more comfortable to me. And I think sometimes it's not just the A route that I'll hit that's the route I'm comfortable with. Is you sort of get to learn your backups, and that I'll slip into this or I might slip into that. It's sometimes knowing your own mistakes and knowing where you tend to lean to and where you go wrong and which way your darts tend to turn. It might mean that sometimes you don't go for that route, you go this route because it fits much better into what your routes are, what your B route is, what your C route could be. And I think that's all it was with Vincent tonight. It's not like when we have been really critical of players when they've miscounted, gone a ludicrous way around things that just wasn't the right way to go. He's just rolled the dice, to be honest, on a way that he felt more comfortable. I'm just going to double check, see if you're back with us, Gob, before I go on. No, he's not. In which case, I think what we might do is move slightly further on to Johnny Clayton and Dirk Vandenberg, who it was a bit of an interesting one tonight in that Johnny Clayton never won a first round match of the World Matchplay. Dirk Vandenberg making his debut. So somebody was guaranteed tonight to win their first ever first round match, no matter what happened. And it was what some people believe, and who some people believe, is the most informed dart player on the planet still, potentially. And a lot of people's, I've seen the chat room as well, a lot of people's pick to either go very, very deep or to win this tournament. Now, the draw, which we will come on to a little bit later once we've discussed this match, the draw doesn't so much, for me, make me think that Johnny Clayton is someone that I would want to put my 50 pence on at the moment. Because for me, anyone that has to face the world #1 and world champion is up against it for me. Now, in this match tonight, he hasn't performed well. In fact, he sort of has and he hasn't. He's averaged 96. He's not set the world alight. I mean, I'm just looking at the stats screen at the moment, and you can sort of look down, and you can see, well, he's thrown 2 maxes to Vandenberg's 7, but what he's done is his standard Johnny Clayton 140, very, very consistent. He's thrown 19 140s tonight against Duijvenbode's 13. So he's been very, very consistent. He's scored well. He has only averaged 96, but again, he's kept his opponent at bay. Dirk's only managed 92. And he's done 41% on his checkouts. And he's just done enough to keep his opponent at bay. I don't think he set the world alight. High checkout of 60 tonight. So we haven't seen any of that magic that we've seen in the Premier League. We haven't seen some of the really high-level performance. But I think it's a bit different when you're in a multi-day tournament. What we've seen in the last few weeks on the Pro Tour events is we've seen tournaments that are all run on a day. So people turn up on the morning and they get on a bit of a run and they have a good day and they can go deep in the tournament. Whereas what we're seeing in the match play is a bit like, and I don't want to draw too many inferences cross sport, in that a bit like what we've seen lately in the Euros, in a major football tournament, you've got a multi-day tournament where you have an isolated match where you turn up and you play one game, and by hook or by crook, you get through that, you go home, and then you've got another 3 days to prepare for your next game, 2 days to prepare for your next game. And I think what Johnny Clayton has done tonight has eased his way into the tournament. He's got himself up and running. He's got himself up to speed, or at least in the habit of winning. He's turned up. He's gone to the Winter Gardens with a crowd in. He's won a match. He's pinged his 140s in all night, and he's won. And I think that it doesn't really concern me too much about him that we haven't seen the electric checkouts. We haven't seen a load of 180s. It does concern me that we know his next match is against Gerwyn Price, who, let's be honest, he's the world number 1. He's the world champion. So there also is a very close and complex personal relationship between those two players. So that, I think, will be, regardless of any other result, will be my pick of the games of the second round. It just has to be, because it's the most informed darts player in the world against the world number 1. Their teammates on a World Cup team. It's got to be, regardless of. I mean, to be honest, if Glenn comes through and Durrant's playing the second round, then that will be my pick of the second round. However, it's got to be most people's pick of that round. Right, let's have a quick dip into the chat room. And just seeing, I've got a second screen on here, so I'm going to have a little roll up and down and see if anybody's got any interesting observations of what's going on. Juanita, Dirk frustrates himself when he loses. I can't work that out, Juanita. I think, and I think I'm still working out Dirk's presence on stage, and I think that sometimes he has this persona that I think he wants to play to the crowd, and I don't think too much that he wants to, psych out his opponent. I don't think there's any gamesmanship in him at all. But I do think there might be a bit in that where he can sometimes psych himself out a little bit, and he can sometimes get a bit too in his own head. Tommy, completely agree. In the round 1, it doesn't matter how you play. The win is important, and that's what I was sort of alluding to there about that. At this stage in the tournament, as you get on, then I do think it's important to build up a bit of a head of steam when the games get closer together, and you do have to sort of look at your averages, and of course you're going to meet players who have played well and are hitting some form. But you're completely right, Tommy. In round 1, the important thing is just to get through by hook or by crook, no matter what's going on. You just have to get that result. Right, let's have another quick dip in here. Dirk rushing on a double from Curtis. Now, I don't know. He plays very fast, doesn't he? He plays very fast all the time. And do you think, Curtis, he was rushing tonight, like as in he was faster than he normally does? Because I know that he doesn't, he certainly doesn't do the sort of, Rob Cross step back, think about it, let's have an aim, all right, okay, I'll go for my double now. He's not that player at all. He does throw bang, 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 generally dependent on that. So, do you, like, just out of interest, Curtis, do you think he took a bit longer tonight? I'm not so sure, but I was typing the blog tonight, so if I'm honest, I was like half watching the screen, half listening to the commentary, half typing, so I didn't get to look at so much. Tommy, do we think Devon might have a bit of dartitis? Oh, do you know, Tommy? I'm sure once Jack gets back on, we will continue to chronologically go through the games. But what I do think, and what I think a lot of people notice, I know there were some mentions in commentary about it. Oh, Jarlath.
Good evening,
mate. Are you well?
Well, I tell you what, I thought you were. I tell you what, this is not how I expected the night to end. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Fallout Bar here from Online Darts. I've basically been jumped in, and now Gob's here as well. I didn't realise. I didn't think that. Look at him! Oh, look at him, everybody. He's gutted. His new software was all ready to go. So do you need me? Do you need me now? If you're back here, then that's me done.
Might as well stay. Go on.
Oh, okay. Go on then. Oh, go on then. How are we? I'm actually. To be fair, I need to make a little bit of a confession to make. People were saying earlier what a great photo of the Winter Gardens it was. I'm not actually.
He's not even left Birmingham yet.
No, I'm not actually there till tomorrow. Like, my nan's birthday tomorrow, so I'm having a bit of a. So I'm staying at my dad's tonight. So there we go. But hello, everybody. Welcome to the. Welcome to. Well, I was going to say the walk on. Then that's not it. Welcome to the Fallout Bar.
I'm going to fall out with something. I tell you.
Yeah.
What a name.
Right. Well, where are we? We're Dan. First of all, congratulations on basically holding together this show when God decides that. He wants to try and get new kit and buggers it all up.
I'm only on my third panic attack, so we've done Chisnall and Vandenberg, and I have made an amateurish attempt to analyse single-handedly Johnny Clayton's win over Dirk van Duijvenbode. Now, whether or not you guys have got any media to stick alongside that, I don't know, but we have talked through it extensively with the chat room, so we could either throw some media in on that or go straight into Gerwin Price.
Taking those doubles to go 6-5, 7-5, I was thinking, just please carry on, because in the back of my mind going, don't blow this again, do not blow this again. And thank God I didn't. So, yeah.
Johnny Clayton. Well done.
There we go, Dad. Just chuck some media in. Look, I'll be completely. I have absolutely no idea what you've said for the last 5 minutes, but to add my 2 pence worth to this game, it played out exactly how I predicted it would when we sat here and spoke about it on Monday on the Live Lounge. That Dirk would start all right. He kept himself in contention early on, and he fell away a bit towards the end when the pressure started mounting.
Well, he didn't, though, did he? I disagree with that. No, he didn't. I disagree with that entirely. And I'd say the reason why, more than anything, is because he was poor on his doubles from the start. It wasn't like he was obviously scoring well. I'm not suggesting that he wasn't, but his doubling throughout the night was poor. And that's the thing is that I was doing some research, because obviously, we do some research for stuff, and we're doing a preview and all the rest of it that we do on this station. And what I found was that Johnny Clayton obviously beat him in the UK Open, if we remember correctly. Early this year, and what I found was that it was just an absolute train, and Clayton was in the form of his life at that time. Dirk was 7 of 21 tonight on the doubles. Clayton, out of interest, was 10 of 24. He had chances, he just didn't take them. It was as simple as plain as that. And look, you can't say fairer than that. Clayton got the big moments right. 17 140s. Job was done, and I'll be honest with you. Really, the big moment came when was it? The leg when he missed a load of darts at the double. Did Dirk missed a big dart at double for tops in the end for 72, sorry, and then Clayton hit double 10. That was for 8-5. Huge game, huge result. That
lovely. Should we do game number 3?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh.
the return, ladies and gents, to a full crowd of the world champion. Gerwyn Price was back in front of his adoring fans, in inverted commas, because it's fair to say that being world champion does not immediately make you likable to the Blackpool crowd. He got a little bit of stick on his welcome back.
Do you not think a little bit of that? So I do think there's. I mean, we could analyze this forever as the reason why it happens, and whether he does or doesn't even want that to happen. But I just think that we can write off a little bit of it. Is that some of these people are absolutely desperate to get back out to watch darts again, and they were desperate to get into the Winter Gardens. And it's just fun to boo someone sometimes. And he's the easiest target on opening night. And there's no one else really that you would feel happy booing actively in a room full of people. But people feel it's okay to boo him because. And do you not think there's an element of this? Just people having a bit of fun because they're allowed back to watch the darts again. And really, like, we can analyse it a lot, but it's just people, having a laugh, aren't they? Isn't it? To a degree.
I don't disagree with you. I think that the only thing for me that cheesed me off with the whole thing, I got a bit of stick on Twitter, as is normal for me whenever I talk about Gezi, because I'm one of the very few that seems to like him. My biggest issue with it was that the fact that he's the world champion, he's the world number one. It's the first time that he's been able to be introduced with crowds, and Blackpool in particular should know better than that. I'm not suggesting that there was every season ticket holder and people that have been going for years, because they will know, they've forgotten more about darts than I'll ever know. But at the same time, if you want to go and boom during the game, I've got no issue with that, because end of the day, that is literally your prerogative. But you don't. It's a respect thing. It's a respect thing.
Respect is earned.
Hang on. He won 8 titles last year. He won the World Grand Prix, and he won the biggest prize of the lot. How is that not getting respect? How does he not deserve respect?
Lifting a trophy does not make you likable.
It doesn't matter. Show the respect. I don't like Manchester City or Liverpool. You have to respect me in the league.
You don't like anyone, Joe.
That's a very good point.
I just think, and now I won't weigh too heavy on what I kind of think. I'm a bit ambivalent, to be honest, personally, about Gerwyn Price. I'm not his massive supporter, but I have no real issue with him at all. I think he's just a very, very good darts player. I think it's almost, and I don't want to go political, but it's almost a little bit like, booing the national anthem conversation. Like, I just think sometimes when you get a room full of 1,000 people and half of them will be on the beer all day, like, they'll just have a boo because that's, and you can't hold all of those. It's great, and I agree with you on a number of levels, Jar, with what you're saying. But like, you'll always be disappointed if you hold everybody to your to your level. Like, the people will always disappoint you, and by all means, have a
disappoint you anyway, Dan. on a regular basis. But look, at the end of the day, I don't know what happened to Price in the first 3 or 4 legs, whether he was just, confused by being back on the stage and playing darts. Who knows? But he got the job done. It was pretty straightforward. A couple of chances to Jermaine, but again, we all knew and all expected what was going to happen. But did
either of you worry at 2? Or not worry, but at 2-0 up to Jermaine, did it make you think even for a moment?
No, not at all.
Not in a race to 10. In a race to 6 Pro Tour,
yes,
it's sustainable. But in a race to 10, you always knew there was going to be that moment. And it came in leg 3 where he hit 82 or whatever it was and screamed the place down. And it was never the same game after that.
Oh, and he did scream.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing of the whole of it all was that Missy, this is generally because I didn't think I was going to be on tonight. That was literally the reason why I've worn the Betfred World Matchplay shirt. But thanks to our title sponsors of our broadcast tonight. No, look, I think the biggest issue for me, I thought, for Jermaine was that there were too many opportunities. I think the biggest one for me was, where was it? Was it 6-5? When it could have been 6-5, went 7-4. Price went back to back, bust darts all over the place, missed 11 for the leg, and then Jermaine couldn't get the job done, missed 5. Once that happened and it got to 7-4, it was game over. Bob's wrong, finish your aunt. We'll see you back here Tuesday night.
I don't think those two were the issue. I think it was just genuinely the fact that in the rest of the legs, he wasn't getting an opportunity. He was absolutely nowhere to be seen. He had so many loose darts. All he had to do was stay straight, hit a couple of trebles in the first 4 visits, and he was over 150 points clear every leg.
It just never, for me, it never looked. I know those. I say we talk about those first 2, but once, certainly after the first break, and after they'd had that first mini session break where they'd gone off, had a wee comeback, it just looked like he was going to have to work. He was going to have to work with everything he had to hold his throw. And because Gezi had that break, it just, from that point, it just never looked like it was going to be in question because, it looked like Jermaine was going to have to lift his game to keep holding his throw. And he didn't seem to have the 2-3 more gears it would have took in order to start putting Gezi under any pressure to start to take legs away from him.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. Completely agree. Let's hear from Gezi then in a short clip that we put onto Twitter. If you want to listen to the full interview, don't forget to jump over to our YouTube channel after this. But here's Gezi in his clip of his interview.
Well, we hope anyway.
I hope. There is someone in the background pressing the buttons for us now, and he's probably on a phone call as I've asked him to do that.
Yeah, he probably has, to be fair. Oh, Philip.
Who's got the best?
You can hear us.
Who's got the best? Well, not me.
Jar, what's your Welsh accent like? Have you got
my English one isn't that great.
That's why I support Ireland, mate. No, should we move on then and talk about this final game while Barzi?
Let's move on. Yeah.
Oh no, hang on. Did I just see a flick of Gezi there? Barzi, if you want to play Gezi, then let's play.
And I truly believe that. If I play the way I can now and the way I believe I can play, nobody beats me anymore. And I believe that. If I take I slipped up on a couple of chances today. I wasn't scoring very well. But if I score and take my chances, nobody will beat me anymore.
There we go.
He's confident, isn't he?
Not there. We did it. Yeah.
What a first show this has been.
Every show this week is like this. We are never doing this again. In fact, we'll be lucky to make it to Wednesday. It will get better, we promise. Teething issues, we're sorry. Final game of the night. Dimitri Vandenberg, 10. Devon Petersen, 5. Watching this game was almost as bad as what it must be like watching this stream right now. Painful.
Fair assessment.
Yeah, it's not far wrong.
Painful.
That's not a bad out.
There was absolutely no rhythm to the game. It completely fizzled out. The crowd didn't seem interested after the first couple of legs. And to be honest, I don't think you can blame much of that on Dimmy. Devon had absolutely no rhythm to his throw from the very first time he stepped up on stage. The dance-off was the best thing about the entire game. And other than that, job done for Dimmy. He's into the next round. Defending champion is not out.
Downhill from the dance-off, wasn't it? Like 100%. I mean, the dance-off was very good. I feel like they probably burnt through most of their energy in that, and it just seemed to head on a nosedive from there. I think it was, I mean, there was elements of it. There was slight moments where you thought it almost. There was moments in the game where it almost teased. It might turn around. But it was on a trajectory that wasn't very good, and the only tease was like this might lift a little bit, but no, it was just. I think Devon really was. I mean, he seemed to be struggling. I mean, to be honest, Gob, you called very early a struggle with his throw, and I thought his action looked a mess. In all honesty, I'm looking for a better word, but I thought his action looked a mess, and it looked very, very snatchy. When I was watching it, to be honest, I was looking at just the action, just the pull back of his arm, and then you sent a message, the transition from that left hand into there, and the length of time and the pause of that seemed to place. It was almost as if he was almost seemed close to stepping back from the hockey to pass a dart from one hand to the other. it was really, really strange, that process. And he just didn't seem to be able to get over it as the game went on. It was I just think it was a barrier for him to be able to try and keep in that game. Dimmy just turned up and threw darts at the wall and managed to grind his way through.
The problem with me after spotting that is that it didn't change. And for it to go on for that long, for you to just not be able to get the dart from one hand to the other, for it to happen a couple of times, it's nerves, right? I've seen it. I've seen players do it. I've done it myself. It just doesn't move over smoothly. For it to still be going on in leg 15 means that either it's a deliberate change or something has gone massively wrong with Devon Peterson's action. Okay, he's never had the biggest backswing, but even last year when he was throwing well, there was a rhythm to it. There was a rhythm to the 3 darts. They were thrown in procession. Okay, he's never been the smoothest transition. Even last year, same time when he was winning titles, that wasn't the smoothest from left hand to right hand, but it was still a rhythm. There was still a pace to his throw. There was still an intensity to it. And today, every single dart became a different event. It almost became a different action, setting it up one after the other. And there's just so many more things that can go wrong with that. You're never bringing it back to the same place. The repetition just goes out the window. And he never, ever looked close and comfortable against Dimmy today.
I think the one for me is that you've got a guy. I think it was Tommy put in the chat room saying it was the worst first round game of the lot. Yeah, look, so far it definitely was. But trust me, there's a couple on the agenda coming up over the next couple of days that might rival that. Let's not be frank here. Let's not beat around the bushes here. Look, Dimmy got the job done eventually. It was the first 5 legs in particular were awful. I haven't seen darts as bad as that in a long time. Look, you got the job done. You did what he needed to do. He's into round 2, and he's got the Dave Chisnall that really could do some bits. And Cam, yes, it was worse than Price Wasmina. At least Price Wasmina had some quality, whereas that game didn't. Yeah,
I think I completely agree there. In that, like there was, I mean, Price Wasmina was in reality like the world number 1, keeping a let's be honest, a last minute substitute at bay. And did it in a relatively professional fashion. And I know that the first 2 legs, but they're 2 legs of a long form game. But I think this certainly, as far as it was a tough watch, that last game. It really was elements of it where you had your head in your hands just watching it. It was very tough.
I mean, it helped me though. Because of how poor the game was. It helped me get the report out basically straight after play. So cheers, Dimmy. Cheers, Devon.
Yeah, it was a night. See, I was doing
the chat room was getting a bit anxious that we just weren't going to show up, and I bet they wish they'd all gone to bed now. When it's 4 a.m. where Juanita is, by the way. I'm not sure if that comes from Airs pop up on screen at any point, but what a trooper to sit up and watch us chat nonsense with broken microphones and an absolute car crash. 8 games tomorrow. Let's absolutely whiz through them. We're just going to go one name to win each game, all right? Between the 3 of us, and whoever wins the vote will be who we're predicting as a group. No time for scorelines because we've kept everybody long enough. Game 1, Ratajski, Brendan, Dolan. Dan, who are you going for?
Dolan, 100%.
Ja.
I don't know. This is tight.
There's no don't know. There's no sitting on the fence and online. You know the rules. Pick a name.
Dolan.
So I can go Ratajski for a free hit. I'll take that because we've voted Dolan as a collective, but then I still look good. Brilliant. Game number 2. Ben Durrant, Callan Rids. Dan, we know where you're going with this one, don't we?
There is only one winner of this match, and it's Glenn. It's got to be Glenn.
Scott, I swear.
See, so I know we said one name, and I'm just going to indulge myself for 10 seconds, right? But there's a lot of people today that have said, like, if Callan Ridge could have picked any seed to play, like, who would he have picked? Obviously, today, he picked Glenn Durrant. But I also stand by, if you could have given Glenn Durrant a list of people who have qualified and said, who do you want to play? Glenn would have every single day of the week picked Callan Ridge. Like, Northeast, knows him really well, loads of banter. In that Northeast circle of WhatsApp group, Facebook banter, like, bit of form, like that. I think if I could have picked a game for Glenn in the first round, that's the game I'd have picked. And I have to back him. So there we go.
Callan Ridge. Simple as.
Thanks for your analysis, Dan. But 2-1 Callan in this one. Game number 3. This one's interesting, I think, boys. Rob Cross against Ross Smith. Jar, we'll come to you first this time.
Yeah, this is a really good game. This is going to be like a little sleeper game of the first round for me. And do you know what? If Ross Smith hadn't won the title, obviously in the Super Series, I'd be more inclined to pick Rob Cross because his form is really starting to improve. But I think Ross Smith is just going to do it. I think this goes the extra time. First extra time game of the week.
Dan?
I almost agree. I think it's the closest to a coin cost that we've got in this set of games. And I think, as much as I would never normally pick it, I think Rob Cross just edges it. I think it's a just edged by Rob Cross.
Yeah, I love Ross Smith, but I am edging towards Rob Cross as well. So that's where we're going with that one. And I'm going to go first on the next game, the last game of the afternoon session. James Wade, Luke Humphries. I'm backing James Wade.
Surprise, surprise. The unexpected.
Hang on, yeah. If I go, this could be difficult because if I back you, we've already got a majority, and Jarlath's vote is almost null and void, isn't it?
I love when his opinion means nothing.
Which is very often.
I'm inclined to back you, Gob, and I think it could be a James Wade. So I think the official view of onlinedarts.com is James Wade. I think that's the.
We'll know after 4 legs, because if he hasn't averaged over 93 at that point, he's not going to get above it. As the standard James Wade performance goes, there is absolutely. He's like a broken F1 car. There is absolutely no gearbox. It will not change gear at all. The performance is just going to stay the same. Jar, where are you going, just so we can complete the formalities?
Luke Humphries will beat James Wade in a rematch of the UK Open final, get revenge for it on his way to his first ever match play semi-final on debut. He's following Glenn Dorrant's footsteps. Luke Humphries gets out of quarter 2.
Mate, one name. That's all we need. We don't need your incorrect opinion. You're entitled to it, of course, but I'm not asking for it.
But do you want to go to the Dimmy clip?
So what?
Do you want to go to the Dimmy clip? Because Barzi's got a Dimmy clip for us before we go and pick the evening session.
Oh, yes. Let's hear from Dimmy to round off our action from today and we'll go to tomorrow evening session.
Yeah, without a doubt, I'm thinking about defending the Matchplay championship title. But after today, I know I can. Don't get me wrong, I know I can. But today definitely showed me that the next 2 days, I've got to be more focused on the next round. I think, like in my feeling, I was ready. Even though practicing was really well, in the game we didn't show up. So I think I've got to learn how the venue works, because it's really warm. It's a boiling venue. I think I've got to find my way in there and get myself to the right way on that stage to give any opponent in front of me one of the greatest games they'll ever played.
A bit of late night Belgian waffle for you all. Absolutely lovely. Right, last 4 games tomorrow evening session. Let's go for our predictions in this one. Opening up Joe Cullen, Chris Obi. This is a tight one, Dan. We're going to you first, though.
One word, Chris Dobie. That's 2 words. Dobie, one word.
Dobie for me.
I'm going Cullen. Something up his sleeve, perhaps. Game 2. What a game this could be. Jar, we're coming to you first on this one. Bully Boy against Ryan Searle.
Michael Smith.
Dan?
My favourite game for tomorrow. I will watch the Glen game. I watch Glen as a fan. This is my pick of the day for games tomorrow is this game. And I honestly think it's heavy metal. Ryan Searle comes through this.
Ooh. I will go Michael Smith. 2 games to go. Peter Wright, Danny Noppert. Dan with
Right.
you.
Peter Wright.
Yeah, right. Wins this company.
Sweet. And the final game, Jose de Saldo against Gabriel Clemens. Gabriel Clemens, by the way, has made the last 16 in every major he's played.
Yeah, not this one.
Yeah. Not this one.
Lovely. Absolute clean sweep. That is the three we're going with. Jose de Saldo to beat Gabriel Clemens. Right, a bit of abrupt ending, but that is time for us to end tonight's show. Thank you very, very much if you have stuck it out with us. Thank you to Jar for jumping in. Thank you for Dan for being awesome while my 1940s laptop decided to not work. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube channel once it's finished. Check out all the interviews we've got there for you, the full clips of the ones we've played for you today. And the live league is still underway. Jump over there. Chris Murphy is covering today's action for you guys. And we'll be back tomorrow night after the double session. Same time, better equipment, better show for you. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.